You think you know the park until a fresh groom or melt catches you off guard, and one look can save your collarbone. Coach, the jumps look exactly the same as yesterday and the days before. Let's do 360s. I can't count how many times I've heard this classic line from my advanced weekend program students. Luckily, I could always talk them down from the 360 to a straight air on the first free run. And what did they say at the bottom? Thanks, coach. The jumps were completely different today. You just saved my bones. Children and teenagers are at a massive disadvantage when it comes to making good decisions in the park by themselves. It's not their fault. That part of their brain literally doesn't exist yet. Us coaches are incredibly experienced and diligent in the terrain park. It's like a sixth sense. And as you would expect from a sixth sense, it's not easy to teach. With a decade of experience coaching skiing of all ages and levels, I've had some time to work on this problem. I found the solution some years ago while reading about what makes a successful car salesman in Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. Great book, highly recommend it. The idea was to become a scale salesman. It makes sense when you think about it. The idea in Blink was to sell the car the client actually needed, not just to sell the most expensive one to match their outfit. And also the idea, the client who walks in knowing what they want needs just as much guidance as the one who walks in without a clue what they want. The concept of pre-ride, re-ride, free ride is a ski school adaptation of this. During your first run through the park with your group, ski through and observe snow conditions, grooming mistakes, and get an idea of the shapes and dimensions of all the features. Pacing is everything. Don't obsess over the details and bore your students. Just describe exactly what you see to the whole group. At the bottom, check for understanding with lots of how, what, and where questions. Keep it simple. This is like walking a client through a car dealership lot. It's just an honest overview. Re-ride is a delicate matter. Most coaches don't do enough of them, and the result is students being unable to consistently get the speed right on the jumps and pretty much all features for the rest of the day. Little learning happens like this. The solution to these plateaus is 3 re-rides. First, students hit the jumps and try to land in the very middle of the sweet spot. Second, they try to land just past the knuckle, still in the sweet spot. And third, they attempt to land at the very end of the sweet spot on the landing. Okay, so deep in the landing. They won't be laughing when you ask them to do straight airs for a whole hour, but in the 10 years I've been coaching, this has been the number one way to get students past a plateau on any feature. You can adapt this to rails, boxes, and jumps, okay? So ask your students to do those 3 things with the landing, and then on a rail, ask them to land at the very beginning of the rail, like a quarter in, then halfway, and then right before the end. So they know the absolute maximum speed they can take into the rail and still actually land on it and not jump over it. It's pretty valuable. So do that. And that all works because the sixth sense is speed sense, which brings us to freeride. Basically, just lapping the park and trying new things. Once students are no longer bothered and doubting their speed on an approach, we can focus on the new tricks they wanted to learn. All they'll remember is that next time they want to learn a trick, they'll be asking you. Make sure you spell it out for them that straight airs with targeted landings were the key, so that when they're out there on their own time, they can replicate these results. Our students want to progress, and they want to impress you, their friends, maybe even themselves. But what they don't yet have is the acute perception and maturity to react when conditions have changed. Pre-ride, re-ride, freeride gives them that foundation. It makes them okay with straight airs and testing things out. It teaches them to assess terrain, manage speed, and build confidence step by step. And it protects their learning momentum so they don't get hit by a plateau and get frustrated, and it protects their motivation and sometimes their bones. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe, and maybe in the comments, tell me a story about when you had a student who wasn't listening and they had just the worst karma, and then what happened after that.